In a bustling Parisian high-rise we meet Caleb, a young man whose ambition and passions are a volatile mix. He's an unofficial entrepreneur running a side hustle of selling rare and expensive sneakers. Caleb is obsessed with the integrity of his business, priding himself on delivering clean and nice products even if his methods are anything but. He navigates a world of shady deals, and his short fuse and aggressive demeanor often land him in conflict with those around him. Caleb's personal life is just as messy. He lives with his older sister Manon, and their relationship is a constant tug of war. Manon is the responsible one, trying to fix up their dilapidated apartment and urging Caleb to be more mature. The tension between them is a physical manifestation of their grief. Since their mother's passing, Caleb has clung to the apartment, seeing it as a monument to her memory, while Manon desperately wants to sell it to escape their shared trauma and build a new future. Beyond his sneaker hustle, Caleb harbors a peculiar and dangerous passion: collecting exotic animals. His room is a makeshift menagerie filled with scorpions, insects, and other creepy-crawlies, each requiring specific environmental conditions that cause constant friction with Manon. She sees his hobby as a childish, expensive, and useless obsession, a symbol of his immaturity. One of Caleb's most difficult customers is a flamboyant man named Tomani, who is obsessed with a particular brand of sneakers, earning him the nickname Tien. Tomani's order is perpetually delayed because Caleb refuses to give him a shoe box that was damaged, insisting on finding a new pristine one. This stubbornness fuels Tomani's impatience, and their interactions grow increasingly hostile. At a farewell party for a neighbor, Tomani's aggressive behavior and his dog's incessant barking later that evening set off a chain of events that will change everything. When concerned residents check on Tomani, they find him dead, and the police, dressed in full hazmat gear, quickly quarantine the entire building, trapping everyone inside. The lack of information from the authorities fuels panic and paranoia. As rumors spread, the community turns on Caleb. A fellow resident, Jill, accuses Caleb of selling Tomani drugs, suggesting his death was a drug overdose. Caleb vehemently denies the accusations, but the seed of doubt has been planted, and even Manon questions him. The confinement forces everyone to confront their prejudices and fears. Caleb's bizarre hobby becomes a source of ridicule and suspicion, with residents openly questioning why he would keep such creatures. However, a woman from the community who works at a hospital offers a different perspective. She notes that Tomani's body did not show the signs of a typical overdose, debunking Jill's theory. This revelation only deepens the mystery and heightens the residents' fear. The real horror begins to unfold when one of Caleb's pets, a large venomous spider, escapes from his room. The creature, which Caleb acquired through a shady deal, is a highly dangerous protected species. It becomes terrifyingly clear that the spider's venom, not drugs, was the cause of Tomani's death. The spider's escape reveals a much larger problem. A highly contagious lethal pathogen has been released into the building. With the spider now loose and more residents showing symptoms of the same mysterious illness, the confined building transforms into a death trap. The community, once hostile, now must rely on Caleb's knowledge of his creatures to survive. He is forced to shed his selfish persona and become a leader, guiding the residents on how to avoid the deadly animals and their toxic venom. The story culminates in a tense battle for survival as the residents, trapped and desperate, fight to stay alive against an invisible and deadly threat, all caused by Caleb's reckless and irresponsible pursuit of his passions. The film ends with Caleb having to finally face the devastating consequences of his actions. His private world of cool hobbies and illegal side hustles has bled into the lives of everyone around him, proving that his careless behavior has a far higher cost than he ever could have imagined. Caleb's world of shady deals and volatile tempers spirals out of control when a long-delayed order for his aggressive customer Tomani culminates in tragedy. Tomani is found dead in his apartment, and authorities swiftly place the entire building under a strict uncommunicated quarantine. Panic spreads like wildfire. Neighbors, trapped and fearful, turn on Caleb, with rumors flying that he sold Tomani drugs. Manon, though hesitant, can't help but question him. The tension builds until one of Caleb's exotic pets, a highly venomous spider, escapes its enclosure. The terrifying truth is revealed: Tomani's death was not from drugs but from a deadly bite from a creature Caleb irresponsibly brought into their home. The apartment complex becomes a sealed-off death trap, a microcosm of chaos and survival. Caleb, once so focused on his selfish pursuits, must now use his knowledge of these lethal creatures to guide his terrified neighbors. He faces the devastating reality that his personal obsession has become a public catastrophe, forcing him to grow up and confront the consequences of his actions. The once separate worlds of his sneaker hustle and his dangerous pets collide, and Caleb learns that his carelessness has a far higher price than he ever imagined. Obsessed with exotic animals, Caleb buys a mysterious spider from an illegal pet dealer, thinking it will be a cool addition to his small reptile collection. The spider, at first no bigger than a coin, is kept hidden in his room despite the protests of his family and friends. But when the creature escapes and disappears, things start spiraling out of control. Soon people in the building begin noticing strange occurrences: creatures crawling through vents, eerie noises, and unexplained bites. Caleb's friends Jordy Matthews and his sister Manon begin to suspect that the spider has grown and reproduced. When they discover a cocoon in Caleb's room, the truth becomes undeniable. The spider has multiplied and evolved rapidly, producing venomous, aggressive offspring that spread through the building's duct system. Attempts to contact authorities fail, and when they do arrive, the response is insufficient and often negligent, leaving the residents to fend for themselves. Chaos erupts in the building as more people are attacked. The group realizes they're facing a deadly infestation and the building is essentially under quarantine, locked down by police who are more interested in covering up the incident than helping. Frustration and fear set in as the group debates whether to escape or stay and help others still trapped inside. Some residents want to flee, but Caleb insists on rescuing his neighbors, motivated by guilt and a growing sense of responsibility. As they navigate the dark, crumbling corridors of the building, they face increasing danger from the spiders, which seem almost intelligent in their behavior. Jordy and Matthews try to devise a plan involving light to repel the spiders who fear it. Using flashlights, firecrackers, and makeshift weapons, they try to clear a path to safety. But not everyone makes it out. Jordy sacrifices himself in a desperate attempt to protect the others, and the trauma fractures the group even more. Interpersonal tensions rise, old grudges resurface, and secrets are revealed. Caleb's past conflict with Jordy is brought up, an old childhood fight stemming from a pet iguana accident that left Jordy injured and their friendship broken. This guilt weighs heavily on Caleb, who starts to realize how much he's isolated himself from the people who once cared about him. Meanwhile, a group of police officers and government agents lurking outside the building refuse to intervene directly. They try to contain the problem from the outside, cutting power to the building and effectively sealing the residents in. It's revealed that they were aware of the potential threat the spider posed but failed to act in time. The residents, now fully on their own, are pushed to their limit. Matthews, who's been bitten, realizes he doesn't have much time left. In a final act of heroism, he offers to lure the spiders into a trap to give the others a chance to escape. His decision is met with protest, but he insists on doing something meaningful before he dies. He unlocks a containment box to draw the creatures away, lighting himself as bait. His sacrifice buys a few precious minutes. Caleb and Lila, a local police officer who had initially dismissed the threat, take the chance to save Manon, who is trapped elsewhere in the building. They fight their way through swarms of spiders, injured and desperate, trying to find their way to the parking garage where a possible escape route awaits. They reflect on their shared past, grief over their mother's death and unresolved pain. Eventually, Caleb finds Manon and carries her to safety, her leg badly injured. As they reach the car, Caleb insists she go first, promising to follow. Their bond, once strained, is rekindled in this moment of crisis. The trio manages to reach the car, but the exit is blocked. The only way out is to open the garage door, which risks letting the remaining spiders out. Caleb volunteers, telling Lila to drive off if anything goes wrong. He opens the door and the three speed away into the night, finally escaping the horror behind them. The silence after their escape is deafening. The building, once filled with neighbors, friends, and family, now lies in darkness, infested, abandoned, and forgotten. In the end, the infestation is never fully explained or resolved. The authorities remain silent, social media and a few tweets the only trace of what happened. For Caleb and those who survived, the experience leaves emotional scars that won't fade. The horror wasn't just the spiders, but the systems and people who failed them, the lies they told, and the loved ones they lost. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.